Welcome to Is That a Bird Call or Is That My Child? I think we're going to catch a lot of
children.
Yeah.
I don't. Hey, y'all ride by screaming really loudly on your bicycles.
I think it's going to pick them up. This week, I'm bringing you something a little bit different. Over the weekend, we went over to my brother and sister-in-law's house in Jasper, Alabama, which is about an hour and a half away, so that we could get our families together, but also so that Ryan and I could spend some time catching up on our first joint venture, raising 25 Cornish cross chickens. This video is a little bit different because I don't usually do long form content, but I really hope you enjoy our conversation about what we're doing to raise these meat birds, how we're dividing this up, and also what we hope to do in the future. Also, you'll have to pardon the various interruptions by some of the kids. That's just the nature of getting together with family. Enjoy.
You like the camera angle? Be too close.
Why did we decide to do this?
To be millionaires.
Ah, yeah, that's right.
Wait, the chickens or the video?
The chickens, these 25 chickens, they're gonna make us millionaires.
We wanted to know what went into the chickens. So let's go through what we're doing.
So
we've got Cornish cross.
So to get started, we went Cornish cross.
Yeah.
And we talked about pros and cons of Cornish cross, referenced some of the stuff that Salatin has said and written about, but decided it's the kind of foolproof way to go. It's the best
broiler.
Yeah, common broiler. It's the best at converting feed to food for us, for human consumption, as far as time frame and expense. So we went with those. You already had the tractor.
Mm-hmm. I built one for the first run of layers. I did for the first test run of layers. It didn't do great with the layers, but it's more or less what Salatin says to do as far as its height off the ground.
Not quite the same dimensions.
Not the same dimensions. It's more narrow. I wanted it to fit in between the Christmas trees.
So it won't hold 70 because
25 was or 30, I think, right?
I think we figured out that 30 was going to be the most it could hold. So we ordered 25 birds from Bob's Biddies because you have a relative who has done a good bit of business with them.
Or is doing.
Has done and is doing business with them. And they were really good price too. I don't remember exactly what it ended up being, but it was
$140 something a bird or something?
I think after shipping it was like right at $2 a bird.
Okay.
And most places would have been
$3.
$3 per bird, so saved a good bit there, so that was good.
They're not vaccinated.
They're not vaccinated. We decided to stick with 25 instead of maxing out at 30 because we weren't really sure. 30 might be too much for that chicken tractor.
Yeah.
And if they all lived, then we didn't want to put them under too stressful condition.
Yeah. We've lost 3.
We've lost 3.
2 immediately within the first day or 2.
Yeah.
They were just puny birds. And then one, Freeland unplugged the heat lamp because it was really hot in there one day. And then it froze that night. 2 of them we thought were dead. Threw them away. And then one came back to life. One wasn't dead. Found it on top of our trash can around in there. Hey guys.
Okay, bring it to me, buddy.
Okay. We're doing it also for that reason right there.
Yeah.
That's a huge part of it.
Yeah. This has been interesting because we're doing it on your land. I paid for the birds.
And the feed.
I paid for the feed. I was just about to say, did we split the feed? No, I paid for the feed. Other inputs have been for trails.
Which you paid for.
Which I paid, I paid for the for trails. And that was like $40 or something like that.
$43.
And that's supposed to last us for the whole time for these birds.
It's 10 pounds is what we bought, and it should be good for 333 pounds, and we bought 360 something pounds or 370 pounds.
Yeah, and that's a huge, I mean, financially, that's a great way that this also makes sense. in finding the source that you have for the feed.
Yes.
And getting the feed for, where we end up, 27 cents a pound, I think, for the feed. And it is organic,
Yep.
non-GMO.
Non-GMO. It's not. No, I thought it was no. It's no soy, but it's got corn in
It's
it.
got corn in it, but soy free.
Yeah.
So I mean, good feed for a cheap price. We bought 360 pounds or however
Yeah.
much.
Yes, some odd.
And so that changed the math in a really big way, because I was doing all the spreadsheet geek stuff, and that really changes the math in what we're projecting our total cost per bird to be. Even after losing 3 birds, we should still be in it for about $10 a bird, basically. Processed.
Do you remember what other places you looked for feed? Because I thought I could have sworn it was a double.
Oh, yeah. For that
was-
type of feed, it was the cheapest I could find was like right around $1.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it was going to change the math in a big way. At that point in time, it wasn't. You couldn't say we would do it to save money, because it wouldn't save any money.
Yeah.
It would
Yeah,
cost.
yeah.
It would probably cost more.
It would have been strictly for the quality of
Yeah,
the bird.
yeah. It would just be
and us
controlling the
knowing what
quality.
went in and where it was, etc.
Yeah, exactly.
But now we are saving a little bit.
But you guys have been doing all the labor.
I just bought another feeder that had hoped would be a little more of an automatic feeder. I don't want to be mean to the boys. Hey guys, I love y'all so much. Go play down there. I'm sorry, I say we work with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Go play with Lad, buddy. That's why we're here.
Cats in the cradle and the silver spoon. If you can be quiet, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, if you can be quiet. That's
Lad,
fine.
you want to come over here? All right, look at me.
How about he sits
I
in
need
this
you to be
chair
quiet.
and you get my chair.
Okay, I'll go get your chair.
It's a click, 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 and edit out. Like,
Yeah,
I really want my water.
good feed.
it's good feed. We did notice lots of people were telling us, and we were reading that don't get Cornish cross because they have problems walking,
Yeah.
and they're not really unhealthy. They're not really healthy birds, and we noticed.
You okay, bud?
And I noticed that they were walking on their forearms instead of walking on their feet. They're ugly birds anyway.
Yeah.
Instead of walking on their feet, they're walking on their forearms and just barely waddling along. So I took the feet away from them for a little over 20 hours, probably 30-ish hours. And they immediately stopped walking on their forearms and were walking erect and were healthy.
Yeah.
So that's really the only problem that we've had.
Yeah. What's it been like? What's the difference been between working with these birds and working with the egg layers that you had in the past?
Egg layers seem to be a little more intuitive as far as where they are.
What do you mean by intuitive?
They
Like in what way?
they
That's a very nice hat.
they pick up on danger. Seemingly they pick up on danger a little faster. They will scratch more and mess around on the ground more than these birds will.
So just more active.
They are a lot more active.
Yep. And you already said this, but it bears repeating. These Cornish cross are just ugly birds.
Said it so many times.
So ugly.
Oh, so ugly. Birds are dumb and not clean anyway, but they're white, so any brown poopy mess that they get anywhere just shows up and stays on them. They're not their feathers aren't coming in as cleanly as egg layers' feathers are, so they have these bald spots everywhere. And they're not elegant at all when they're walking. Like, not that a chicken is elegant, but
They just look awkward. Yeah. I mean, I kind of get why people bash on them. Like, it's saying like they're,
Yes.
I've seen some people say like they shouldn't even exist. Like
Yeah.
they're a species that shouldn't even be alive. And I kind of get that. They look kind of pained in their movements.
yeah. Like, and now that my relative, who processes 100 a week, meaning they slaughter 100 a week and sell 100 a week, they don't ever take the feed away from them for the 9 or 10. They have to keep them for 9 or 10 weeks. They don't take the feed away from them for 9 or 10 weeks, except for the last 24 plus hours before they slaughter them.
Yeah.
So that's who we're going to follow.
Yeah.
And consequently, in the past 3 or 4 days, since I haven't been taking the feed away from them, we have some that are walking on their forearms now.
Yeah.
So this is a trial run. I am nervous about it.
Yeah.
A little bit, but
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. I mean, it's a learning process, and if we're not trying to hit numbers. We're not trying to hit a certain number of chickens or a certain amount of like pounds of processed meat, or even really a certain like dollar amount per pound or dollar amount per bird. This is all just, we're going into this as a new venture for something that neither one of us have done, knowing that we've got a lot of resources to be able to lean on, like your cousin and all the literature that's out there, and talks that we've heard, books that we've read, things like that. So we're not just going in blind without any resources, but definitely not. But having your hands on it is so different.
man, yeah.
I mean, I know we've talked about this before, but failure is just a really good teacher.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't turn out the way that we had intended, then oh well, that'll be okay. We'll learn a lesson and we'll adjust.
As they say, it's not rocket science. This
Yeah.
will be. We have the infrastructure set up. I don't think we have any infrastructure that's poorly designed or not. I think we have great infrastructure here as far as the tractor goes, as far as the feeders go.
Yeah.
It's just consistency.
How long does it take you per day for their chores, food and water and moving them and stuff?
Are you calculating the time that it takes me to physically walk out and get the feed refilled and physically walk out there and move
Like,
the
what's
thing?
the extra time in your day?
3 minutes, 4 minutes. If I had to walk farther, it would be longer. If there are no problems.
You said 3, not 30.
3.
3.
If there are no problems, I'll go out first thing in the morning between 5, 6, or 7. There's that little 2-hour window where I'll go out and I'll either refill their feed and their water. And a lot of the times right now I'm only having to do that about once every 3 or 4 days. But I will move the tractor, which takes about 60 seconds tops.
Yeah.
Because sometimes a few of the birds will hang out in the back,
Yeah.
and I would run over them.
They're too dumb to move.
They're too dumb to move. So I'd open up the back side. I have a hatch on the back side I open up, and I'll shoo them towards the front. I do take a treat. I bought some dried out worms.
Yeah.
They're just super, super high in protein, and I'll sprinkle them at the front of the cage, and they all will come running.
Yeah.
Move it, and that's pretty much all I do.
Yeah. So less than 5 minutes per day.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
Less than 5 minutes per day.
And we were weighing some earlier, and we think they're a little bit behind.
You said 6 weeks, February 26th.
They're
when they were born, and it's April 6th.
Yeah. So they were almost 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost 6 weeks old, and they
Tuesday
were
will be 6 weeks.
1 pound, 4 ounces. There were a couple that were that, and some that were a little bit less than that, and there was 1 or 2 that were
A good bit less.
a good bit less than that. Yeah. Like
And that was
11 ounces, 12 ounces, something
maybe.
like that.
No, it was. I thought it was 9.
No, I
No,
think
you're right. It was
9
11.
ounces difference.
You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. 9 ounces difference.
Yeah. So we had projected for slaughtering them the last weekend in April, but we'll hold that loosely and see how the weight gain is going.
We're using an automatic. We can call it an automatic water feeder. I guess is what you would call it. It would not an automatic, an on-demand water feeder. Instead of a trough full of water.
Right.
Because they were pooping in it like crazy.
Yeah.
And it was.
Yeah, that works. Seems to work really well. I've got that for our layers, and I've liked it a lot.
Well, I was going through so much water. Just
Yeah.
I would pick it up, take my hand and rub on the basin, and then dump the water out to get the poop, get the grass, get the rocks out of it, so they could drink clean water. But now they just peck at that little silver.
Did you train them to that?
No.
They just took to it.
I made sure I pressed it when I first put it in there,
Yeah.
so that water was dripping out, so they would
Yeah.
peck at the water. And when they they like to peck at. I've noticed they like to peck at round, shiny objects, rocks, sticks, something that stands out.
Right.
And they all came over as soon as I put it in there. A lot of them came over and started pecking at the little knobs, and they get water.
Yeah. So that's worked pretty well.
Yeah.
The automatic feeder
Does not work really well.
Yeah. What would you do different about that?
I honestly don't know. I do like it because it allows me to fill it up to the top.
Yeah.
Leave it alone, and when I go out there to move the pin anyway, I can just reach in and twist it.
Yeah.
And it fills up. The only problem is 25 birds. As I noticed today for the first time, I went out there and refilled their little trough around the automatic feeder, and it might have been 12 hours later that it was empty.
Yeah.
And they didn't have access to a lot of feed.
Yeah, you get kind of that sediment that's coming out at the bottom. It kind of blocks.
And I don't want to walk back out there halfway through the day
to
give them feed. So maybe multiple of those.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 or 4 of those in the pen.
Yeah. Well, you've also got one of those little red just feeder trough things.
Yep, and fill that up.
That,
they do step on top of that and poop in the feed, though.
Yeah.
They don't.
Have you had trouble with them tipping it over?
Nope.
Okay. I've had that with mine. I didn't like those because mine kept on tipping it over.
It might be because there's so many. It might be because there's so many on top, so many standing up on top of it. It keeps it from tumping it over. There's so many. I mean, they're stupid.
Yeah. Slaughter day. So we've been talking a lot about making sure that we're prepared, because that's a huge thing that I've read that people run into is they think, oh, we've got 8 weeks, that's plenty of time, and then all of a sudden 8 weeks are up and they don't have their stuff together.
Infrastructure, as Joel Salatin calls it, having everything ready.
Right, know what you're going to do, where you're going to put them, how you're going to do it, all that stuff, the equipment that you need. We are very fortunate.
Hey, Amos, lad, please get all your clothes and put them in the dirty clothes, okay? Thank you.
We are very fortunate in that we've got a friend who has a plucker.
Yes, oh my
and
word.
he's going to let us borrow it.
I don't even know where we would have started. Like,
I don't either.
Like renting a plucker, finding
somebody
and messaging them on Facebook and saying, "Hey, please, can we borrow for one day?"
Yeah. We would have had to rent one from somewhere. I don't know where.
Jimmy James.
So that's a huge advantage, because I don't think it would be feasible to pluck 25. I mean, had all of them survived, 20, 25, 22, it doesn't really make a difference. I do not think we could have hand plucked that many birds.
We could have. It would have made a great time-lapse video. Have the sun like moving in the background while we're
exactly. Yeah, 8 hours later on bird 15.
Oh my word.
We are going to make some slaughter cones.
Out of some 26, but right now the plan is for 26 gauge.
Man, I was just trying to get the flame like showing a little bit. What are you trying to do?
I was doing that so the flame would be tall.
Well, now you're smoking me out. Thank you.
It's all for the video.
I needed a good ash bath.
Sorry.
Slaughter cones.
Slaughter cones. Okay, dimensions. I'm so sorry, dude. Slaughter cones, quick. I'm sorry, dude.
Just lean on the axe here. We're not buying them. We're not buying slaughter cones.
We're building them.
Making them. You've got a source for some
sheet metal.
Thin gauge sheet metal.
Well, that's pretty thick gauge.
Well, I mean, right, yeah.
Comparatively speaking.
Comparatively speaking, yeah.
When you look stuff up on YouTube, they're using thin stuff.
Like 32.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's still going to be maneuverable for enough for us to be able to do that. And I found a pattern online that gives dimensions on how you should make it in the right shape, the right dimensions, so that when you overlap it, rivet it in, it should work.
Yeah.
We're just going to set up a table, a couple hoses, one for the plucker and one for cleaning. We'll have, what do we say, 3 cones, 4 cones.
I thought we said 2.
I think we need 3.
Okay, that's fine.
I mean, we might not use all 3, but
Do you remember the dimensions?
no.
Okay. I was starting to call you yesterday and ask you because I was driving by his place and I didn't
I
go.
can't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to look it back up. So we'll have those. We'll have the hoses. We're going to have an ice bath, ice water, to be able to put them in, to cool them down.
We've got some 30-gallon tubs down there. You want me to go grab a tub and bring it up here?
Yeah.
Just so you can look at it? Okay.
So we're
It's right there.
anticipating that it's going to take
One day.
pretty much all day between setting everything up, processing the birds, and then cleaning everything.
Isaac does 100 they start at 6 a.m. and they're done at 11.
Wow.
So they have their system set up and they've done it so many times.
Yeah.
He's done thousands now, literally thousands and thousands of birds. But that was when he said that was a big encouragement. I was like, shoot,
Yeah.
we should be able to do 25 and a half a day, easy. I think.
But we've never done it.
Right. So I want to take our time and do it right.
Have you ever gutted a chicken?
Never gutted a chicken.
I haven't either.
Not personally.
Uh-uh.
I've seen it done, but
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Seen it done, but
How many did the Featherman and Joel Salatin?
A dozen-ish
Okay.
in probably an hour and a half
hour.
while they were talking about it and
Yep.
demonstrating
Yep.
and doing everything else. So, yeah. I mean, I think we'll be able to get it done. I'm really interested to see how long it's going to take. So we talked about the inputs, the stuff that we had to buy, kind of how we're going into the partnership together. We're splitting the birds 50-50 at the end of the day.
As far
Given a couple to Jimmy James as a
Yep.
thank you for letting us use the plucker.
which I don't think he'd find that. Some people may find that insulting because that's not very much. But I don't know how much he's put into the pluckers and whatnot. But I think it's sufficient.
Well, yeah, especially since he said, "No, man, I'm happy for you guys to just use it." Don't
Yeah.
He wasn't asking for.
He's not
any
slaughtering
fee.
100 birds a week like he needs.
No.
Yeah.
They use it occasionally. In fact, he told me that when they bought it, they intended to make it available for other people to use as well.
Cool.
So it wasn't. It's not like I was invading on his
Yeah.
on his turf or asking him to make a sacrifice for us to be able to use this. And did offer to rent it.
Yeah.
He said, no, you guys just take it and use it.
Okay.
So yeah, no, he's not expecting anything. So I think, yeah, just as a nice gesture. Right now, these 22 birds are for our personal consumption. We're not trying to market this or make this a commercial venture. Are you interested in using this as a test case to see if you could do something at a
Oh,
commercial
heck
scale?
yes. That was really the main reason I agreed.
Yeah.
We eat Chick-fil-A, right? And we want to eat less Chick-fil-A because I just found out some of the junk that they put in there. But at the same time,
Right.
I right now where I am as far as trying to get income coming in, I want to do farming stuff, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
But I thought this was an excellent way of learning
Yeah.
learning everything there is to know about it, because I would like to dip my toe into it.
I think it's really, I think the community aspect of doing something like this on a small commercial scale, like your cousin slaughtering 100 a week, that's not.
It's big for one person.
That's big for one person, but it's
But-
not getting grocery store accounts.
Right.
But it could have an impact on the community around you in
Yes.
offering better food. I know where we are. Like I mentioned earlier, we don't have a Whole Foods near us. The closest one would be probably almost 2 hours away.
Memphis.
Probably, yeah, hour and 45. We're not. I wouldn't say that we're in a food desert, but we don't have a lot of options for high quality food.
Yeah.
I think there's more of that around us, but I think there is. I think more and more people are starting to do it.
Yeah.
But
I believe you have a willingness in your as far as an hour radius goes around, you have
Yeah,
a willingness to buy it, but they just don't want to go to Whole Foods, and they don't
Sure.
want to. But if there was
Yep.
somebody that they knew there that
Yeah.
had it, I think that's the way it is with Jasper. I think
Yeah.
that's the way it is here with Coleman, which is 45 minutes from here.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's plenty of people.
So when you think of commercial scale for you, how many birds are you thinking?
A 500
500?
for me to be able to do comfortably.
So
without it being a full-time, I could do 500 birds, I think, once a day and still keep my fireman and construction job, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it would take a little bit more.
500 per year, 500 per.
Oh.
What do you mean?
At a time. So if I were to
Okay.
slaughter 25 a week.
So keeping a rotation going.
Yeah, keeping the
Gotcha.
rotation going.
Gotcha.
If I were to slaughter 25 a week, and if I could handle that, and if Isaac can do 100 in half a day, I feel like I should be able to do 25 in half a day.
Yeah. And then.
Selling them online, like the lady.
Yeah.
I need to just get on some forums and just ask people who's interested locally.
Yeah.
And I think I would get. I just need to see.
Yeah, that would be an interesting way to do it. You know, use this as kind of a proof of concept. Say, hey, I've done it for myself, but want to see if there's an interest in the area more broadly. Maybe you could even take pre-orders, like 50% deposit or something like that.
If you're interested, let me know, and then I'll buy birds and do them, and they'll be ready in 10 weeks.
Yeah. That could be a really interesting way to get into it, just to kind of see what market is there, fill that market, and then try to grow it organically.
The Alabama Agriculture Center, Alabama Ag, the permit is not that expensive, or the certification is not that expensive. It's a few $100s, but it's not thousands, and it's a one-time purchase. We are.
Yeah, but there's a lot that'll be edited out.
Come on in. Isaac said, I think I've told you this, Daniel, but I'll say it for the video's sake. Isaac, who is my cousin in Butler, Florida, Sunset Ranch, said that if he could go back, knowing what he knows now, he would do nothing but chickens. He keeps 60 to 80 cows. He has, it just fluctuates greatly, 40 to 70 pigs. He hates the pigs. Keeping them in is his problem. He said, but the chickens are just a gold mine.
Has that been just because of the demand in his area, or because of the overall effort?
For the pigs?
For like chickens versus the
He's
other
selling
animals.
out of his pigs. He's never has an old pig.
But just keeping them in.
Just the work that it takes to keep them within their infrastructure, to keep them within their electric fence.
Yeah.
They're the smartest animal.
Yeah.
He said he thinks they're way smarter than dogs, which I think studies have shown that they are. But so he wouldn't do pigs. He said he's into cows now, and he's bought everything he needs, and they produce more than the chickens do.
Sure.
They bring in more money, but they do cost a whole lot more. He said that the eggs, he's producing basically 2,000 eggs a day, and so he's got 2,400 egg layers. He's using Joel Salatin's X-Wing. And I believe a couple weeks ago he just finished building his second one. And they just move it within their net fencing. But that's 2,400 egg layers, and they have 700 to 800 broilers. And he said if he could do it over again, I'm reiterating the same thing, repeating myself, but he would just do chickens. And here in the Christmas tree field, if I'm going to monetize the Christmas tree field, I would just do it chickens.
Okay. Well, I think we probably covered just about everything.
Yeah.
So we started out with some infrastructure in place, but still had the upfront cost of obviously the birds and the feed.
And I built the box that they were in.
Yeah, nesting box.
But that had the wood here.
Yeah, you had some scrap wood for that. You had to buy some pine shavings.
I had to buy two bags of pine shavings. That was $12. I spent
you had to get a light.
$19 on the automatic feeder, and then I spent, it was $20-something for the automatic waterer.
Yeah.
So you're looking at a total of probably $100 extra.
Yeah.
for some
Yeah.
feeders, waters. and-
One-time expense. So obviously,
Yeah.
the more that we
Chips.
do this, the more that kind of pays for
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
We've got about a month till slaughter. We'll check back in with some videos, seeing how growth is going and checking weight. Obviously, we'll adjust our slaughter date accordingly to make sure that we're getting full-size birds. We don't want to stick to the date just because we had that date set aside
Yeah.
and end up processing birds at a pound lighter than we could if we just waited a little bit. So we'll do that, and obviously we'll make a video of the progress and make a video of
Slaughter day.
the processing, and especially for other first-time people out there that haven't done this before, that are in the same situation we're in, be able to recap some of those lessons learned and say, hey, here's what we did right, here's what we did wrong, here's what we'll do better the next time.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for those videos. Hope this was helpful for you guys. Hope this was edifying in some way, insightful, informative, and maybe even slightly humorous.
Enjoyable.
Enjoyable. Yes,
Because it is for us.
it is.